Hi again folks, how's all doing? Yes, this is a Hornby 08 Shunter locomotive. It was sent to me by a chap called Michael, and he told me that he'd taken it apart to try and clean it, and putting it back together, the motor goes but the wheels don't go round. So let's just turn on the power. Well, the motor went for a minute there. Yeah, nothing happening there at all now. So I think we'll just have to shove this into the shed and take it to bits. So this is a nice little shunter. I prefer this one to the last 08 shunter I worked on last year. You had all the detail on it and you just felt you were going to break something every time you picked it up. This is a bit more robust. It does say DCC fitted, but I know that Michael has fitted a blanking plate, so it will run on DC. Yeah, we'll see if we can get into this and what the problem is. I mean, that symptom, the motor spinning and the wheels not working, could be quite serious. It could be one of the gears it could be that the drive gear is spinning on the axle, it could be the worm gear is spinning on the armature shaft, it could be that the worm gear is not engaged with the drive wheel, which I think is the case with this, because if it was working and then it's been taken apart and put back together, I strongly suspect that it's just not sitting quite right. I hope that's the case. You know, just the old problem of taking something apart is one thing, but getting it back together can be tricky. So how on earth do we get into this? Michael also said that the coupling broke on the front. I do have it here, so we'll see if we can fix that. I think I can see why it was broken, because as far as I can see, the body of this thing is clipped on with a clip at the front there. I think what I'll do is I'm going to take the rear coupling off as well. Because I think what I want to do is to push down on that clip there. The devil, does this come off? It looks like there's two clips at the back there, but this one at the front appears to be the obvious one to try and release. I wonder if it pushes back. Nope. I don't like to push too hard on these clips because the last thing I want to do is break it. There we go. Come on, there we go. Blimey, don't like that at all. I mean, what's wrong with a couple of screws, for goodness sake? Right, yeah, so the wheels are not engaged with the motor. So I think we'll get this underframe off and see what's what. I don't have an 08 shunter. I think I'll get myself one at some point. I think I quite fancy just getting the old one though. Right, does this just come off? Originally it was clipped on at the front there. Right. Right, I don't think that middle axle is sitting right. Yeah, they're not sitting right. And these ones don't seem to come out. I'm sure they will, with a bit of persuasion. Right. Let's get these out all together, or at least that much, and then I can see what's going on here. That's what's going on. There's all sorts of crap in the recess in the chassis here. I think that bearing has just not been able to get right into that recess in the chassis, and therefore the drive gear was not engaging with the worm gear. Do you know, I think it's little bits of the chassis have been breaking off. Right, give this a good clean out. And then these should fit back in. They're a very tight fit, I have to say. Right, make sure I get these pickups in position. Right, what happens if I screw this motor down now? think that's better. Fresh lubrication into the axles. Put this back on. Right, just pop this on the test track. Does it go? Yes, it does. So that's all the problem was. There was dirt behind the bearings in the middle wheel there, so it wasn't sitting properly in the chassis, and therefore it wasn't the drive gear wasn't engaging with the worm gear. So although I've solved the problem, I think I'll take this apart again because I would like to give the drive gear a really good clean. I want to make sure there's nothing caught in the teeth. And see what state the worm gear is in as well. So we'll take it to bits again. It's unusual for these bearings to be so tight in the axle like this. I've not come across this before. Right, I cannot get this rear axle out. It is completely... No, it's not coming out at all. I mean, I could force it out, but too much risk of damage, so we'll leave it alone. Right, so we'll loosen this motor and get a look at the worm gear. Maybe try and clean it. It's kind of just held in place. With a clip at the back and then screwed in. Yeah, there's a lot of congealed grease in there. Don't know if you can see. And little bits and, oh yeah, we'll clean all that out. Let's get that out of there. We'll give this a good proper clean. Little bits of, looks like polystyrene. I want to make sure there's nothing caught in that worm gear. A spot of oil in the rear bearing of the motor and some just at the front. Get some fresh grease on to the worm gear and we'll mix it up with some gear oil. So I'll get this back together. I'm going to have some lunch. Okay, so I'd already given this a bit of a clean, but I'm going to give it a more thorough one. Make sure we get all the crap out of it. Let's see what state the wheels are in. Just give them a rub with the contact cleaner. Yeah, they're pretty clean. Right, get these back into position. Making sure these bearings are sitting right in their little recesses. Right, okie dokie. Get this back in. Making sure the pickups are in position. Right, I think we'll get this under frame on. Just to help keep everything in place. Okie dokie. Right, let's check out my pickups. Yeah, all look okay. Quick battery test. Makes a wee bit of a clunk. Why is it making a clunk? Okay, that's spinning on all 6 wheels, so I think I'll leave it at that just now, and we'll see what it does on the layout. Right, okay, so it's all cleaned, it's working, it's lubricated. So what we're going to do to fix this broken coupling. So I think I'm going to drill a little hole just in there, through to the underframe there, and just put a little M2 screw in, just to hold that in place. I don't want to glue it in, but you know, trying to glue those back onto the chassis and then screw something into it, it's just going to break again. So let's get the drill out. I'm going to mark where I'm going to drill in that coupling. There we go. So basically all I've done was drilled a new hole and put a little M2 screw through to hold the coupling on. So I think we're all done. Everything seems to work. Everything's cleaned, lubricated. We'll pop this body back on. Like so. So it's easy enough to put that together. It's really annoying because not only does it make it really difficult to take the body off, it's not very aesthetically pleasing having the big visible slot for that clip. However, right, let's put this on the test track. Power on, off it goes. So although this is running, it's making a slight thumping noise and it's not running too smoothly. And I can't see any reason for that. The wheels are all fine, everything's as it should be. So I'm wondering if there's a bad mesh between the worm gear and the drive gear. I think I'll go and stick this in the layout and see what it does. You hear that clicking? Go like that. Nope. I think I'll have to take this to bits again. So, just when I thought it was fixed, it develops an unforeseen problem. A horrible thumping sound. Right, let's get the motor out again because let's look at that worm gear. It's a great big piece of fluff in here I didn't spot. Jeez, come on out of there. Maybe a bit of fluff. Kind of tricky to do this without damaging those pickups. Is it the rods? Wow, I don't know. Why is it clunking? Okay, so I've removed the motor and there's no clunking there coming from the rods themselves. Okay, sometimes working on locomotives is really, really weird. I've just spent the past day or so trying to figure out what was making this thing click. As you saw there, when I removed the motor and ran the chassis on the track, no click. So, the wheels and the rods and the crank pins all looked fine. It was only when it was connected up to the motor would it click, and that kind of started to make me think it was maybe something to do with the gears. So I looked at the drive gear, right enough. A couple of the teeth were really badly chewed up, so I thought, well, that's possibly what's causing it. So I removed these middle wheels and took the drive gear out and put in the one from my own G83 because it's in very good condition. It's the only spare one I've got. But no, it still clicks. So then I thought, well, I wonder if it's maybe the worm gear then that's causing the problem. Couldn't see anything wrong with the worm gear, but I thought, well, you never know. I've had that before. There's a problem with a gear and you think it looks okay, but no, you replace it with another one and it's fine. So I took the motor out and put the motor from my J83 in, thinking, well, that's got same drive gear, same motor, same worm gear as my J83. It must work. Nope, it still clicked. And then today I looked at it, just picked it up, looked at it, and I thought, oh, I see why it's clicking. Honestly, I could have absolutely smacked myself in the face. It's clicking, or it was clicking, because these rods here were hitting the brakes. Simple as that. But what was happening was, when the motor's not engaged, the middle wheel doesn't get pulled to one side the way it does when the motor's running. So when it was running forwards, this wheel gets pushed in this way, and it was just pulling the rods up against those brakes. As simple as that. So I've bent the rods just a little bit, and they now clear the brakes. Okay, let's go and pop this on the layout and see if it comes out the shed without any clicking. Okay then, let's bring it out. So there we go, that's this wee Class 08 Shunter running fine now. I spent far longer working on this than I should have done, messing around trying to solve that clicking noise that turned out to be a very simple cause and solution. But there you go, sometimes you just can't see the wood for the trees. So I sorted the middle axle, which had some tiny particles of die-cast stuck underneath it. The chassis seems to be crumbling a little bit around about the axles. I'm not sure if it's maybe got a wee bit of mazic rot or something. Also, I never mentioned earlier in the video, but I would have expected this model to have had the sprung rear axle, the same as on my J52 and my J83, but no, it doesn't seem to have. Actually, the rear axle is well and truly stuck into the recess in the chassis, and I wasn't going to force it out, but I hadn't seen that before. But yeah, I fit the drive gear from J83, which, as it turned out, I didn't really need to do, but yeah, the old one was a bit chewed up, so no harm done. I'll get a replacement for my J83. And I cleaned everything, lubricated it, fixed the front coupling, and of course finally solved the clicking issue. I should have followed my initial thought it was the rods, what an idiot. Anyway, it's okay now, and I'll get it packed up and sent back to Michael. Catch you later, folks.